The castle gates closed behind her with a soft, echoing thud. The blonde maid thought no one noticed her slipping away early again. But someone did. From the shadows of his enchanted obsidian carriage, hidden beneath layers of ancient magic, the vampire king watched her hurry down the moonlit path, her shoulders tense, her uniform still damp from hours of scrubbing endless stone corridors. The Blood Castle was quiet that evening, too quiet for the ancient ruler who could hear heartbeats through stone, sense lies before they were spoken, and taste tension in the air like metal on his tongue. Vorian Drakovich, the vampire king, stood on the high balcony, looking down at the sea of living shadows that guarded his domain. He rarely concerned himself with the mortal servants. They were tiny moving parts in a kingdom built on immortality, blood magic, and absolute power. But tonight, his eyes found her, the blonde maid, Elena, the only human in his castle who did not tremble when he entered a room, the only one whose heartbeat did not spike with terror, the only one whose scent was warm instead of fearful. Yet for the past 2 weeks, she had been slipping away early, rushing out before moon midnight, flinching at sudden noises, her aura dimming as if life was being bled out of her dot, and tonight she moved faster than ever. Almost running, Vorian narrowed his silver eyes. Suspicious, unusual, unacceptable dot, so he stepped into the shadows and vanished. The DCO Elaine didn't know she was being followed. No human could ever detect a vampire moving at shadow speed. She hurried through dark alleys, torn buildings, broken lanterns, her breath shaky, her hands clutching a cloth bag. Vorian moved silently behind her, his black cloak absorbing moonlight, his aura hidden with ancient concealment magic. She walked into an abandoned human district, a place where fear lived longer than people did. She entered a broken building. Vorian entered, moments later, and froze. A small boy no older than 4 lay on a thin mattress, coughing violently, pale, weak, barely breathing. Elena dropped to the floor. "I'm sorry, baby." Mommy brought what she could. From her bag, she pulled leftover bread, bits of fruit, and a small flask of warm soup stolen from the castle kitchens. The boy tried to sit, failed, coughed again. "Easy. I'm here," she whispered desperately. Vorian felt something strange, an emotion he had not felt in centuries. He expected treachery, expected secret meetings, expected betrayal. He never expected a starving child. He stepped from the shadows at last. Elena jerked around, terrified. "My lord." Her breath hitched. Her pulse spiked. She dropped to her knees instantly. I'm sorry. I didn't mean. I know humans aren't allowed to take food. Please. Please don't hurt him." Her fear was raw. Not for herself, for her child. Vorian stared at the boy, then at her trembling hands, then at the cheap blanket wrapped around her son like fragile paper. For the first time in 100 years, he didn't know what to say. The king's question. "How long?" Vorian asked quietly, his voice echoing like cold thunder. "Has your son been suffering?" Elena swallowed hard. "Since birth, my king. And you hid him from me?" "Yes," she whispered. "I had to. Humans are not permitted to raise children inside the castle. And if the court found out, they would take him away, or—" She couldn't finish. Vorian's jaw clenched. The law she feared? It was his law. A centuries-old policy forbidding human servants from bringing families into vampire territory. He created that law. He enforced it ruthlessly. But now, staring at this fragile child gasping for air, his own law tasted bitter. "Elena," he said, "you come to the castle with a smile every night. You bow. You work hard. Yet you carry this burden alone." She lowered her head. "I had no choice, my lord. You could have asked me." Her eyes widened. Humans didn't ask the vampire king anything. My king. I didn't want to trouble you. Vorian inhaled slowly. He had slaughtered armies, toppled kingdoms, broken immortal rebellions. Yet this tiny human woman feared being a burden. More than she feared him. Something twisted deep inside him. Something old. Something dangerous. Something he had buried long ago. Asterisk, he knelt beside the boy. Something no vampire king had done for a mortal in centuries. Elena gasped. Your son is dying, Vorian said softly. But he will not die. Elena's eyes filled with tears. My lord, I will take him. Her heart dropped. No. Please, my king, he is all I have. Don't take him away. Vorian lifted a hand. A gesture. Commanding silence. You misunderstand me. He placed 2 fingers on the boy's forehead. A faint glow pulsed beneath his touch. Ancient healing magic. Older than the castle itself. I will bring him to the castle, Vorian continued. He will live there. With you? Elena's breath caught. She stared at him, stunned. But the law. I am the law. His voice wrapped around her like the night itself. From this moment onward, your son is under my protection. No vampire will harm him. No court will touch him. No rule will separate you. Tears streamed down her face. My king, I don't know how to thank you. You will not thank me, he said. You will simply obey. She nodded rapidly. Yes, my lord, anything. But then, Vorian said something he had never said to a human. Elena. She looked up. You and your son will not live in fear again. A soft gasp escaped her. Then Dash the king lifted the child effortlessly, cradling him as if he weighed nothing, his cloak wrapping around the small, frail form. Elena followed, stumbling behind him, hands shaking with shock, hope, and terror. For the first time in her life, she wasn't walking alone. The return to the Ciesdale, they castle guards jolted at the sight, their immortal ruler cold, merciless, feared, carrying a human child in his arms. A dozen guards dropped to their knees instantly, lowering their heads. My king. Shall we summon the healers? No, Vorian said. I will heal him myself. Gasps rippled through the hall. The king, using his own blood magic. For a human child. Every vampire felt the shift. In the air, a new law forming the moment he stepped inside. Elena tried to hide behind him, holding her breath, fear crawling up her spine. Vorian sensed it instantly. No one will touch you, he said without looking back. No one will speak against you. Anyone who does. He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. Every vampire bowing in the hallway knew exactly what it meant. The HEA lion Jean sighed his private chamber. The king laid the boy on a velvet bedding. He rolled up his sleeve. Elena gasped in horror. Please, my king. Not your blood. Humans aren't meant. Elena, he said calmly. Vampire blood heals. Human or not. He placed a single drop of his immortal blood on the child's tongue. The boy's body arched, light glowing beneath his skin. A soft gasp leaving his lips as warmth spread through him. Moments later, his breathing steadied. His color returned. His cough vanished. He blinked slowly. Mama? Elena sobbed, falling to her knees, hugging her son with shaking arms. Vorian watched them silently. Something inside him cracked, softened, shifted. A feeling he hadn't allowed for centuries began to rise. Not love. Not yet, but something dangerous. Something undeniable. Attachment. The vampire king's CLAI, Elena, he said quietly. She looked up, wiping tears from her cheeks. Yes, my lord? You are no longer a mere servant. Her breath caught. You belong to my household now. You and your son both. Her pulse quickened. Not from fear, not from something else, not something she didn't dare name. I belong to you, my king? Vorian stepped closer, lowered his voice. You have always belonged to me. Elena, you simply did not know it. Her heart thundered. He touched her chin gently, so gently it shocked her, lifting her eyes to meet his. I will protect you, he said softly, no matter what it costs. She swallowed. Why? Why would you do all this for me? He leaned in, his cold breath brushing her ear. Because, he whispered, you woke something in me that I thought died centuries ago. She trembled. He did not. Elena, Vorian murmured, your life is now mine to guard. Her lips parted, her voice barely a breath. My king! But he stepped back, his expression unreadable, his aura dark and powerful. This is only the beginning, he said. And with that, the ancient vampire king turned and claimed her fate as forever intertwined with his.